All right, thanks for having me. My name's Gertner. I'm here from Santa Fe. I'm just here to speak a little bit about what we've been doing at Santa Fe. We've had a lot of great kind of data and information about what you could be doing or what you should be doing or things you could take advantage of. And this is kind of give you a little bit of a real world example of what we are implementing or what we're trying to do thus far at Santa Fe College in Gainesville. So a brief recap. I think folks are starting to kind of get a hang of what the FICAPS program is and what it means, but just to clarify, we're talking about Florida's integrated career and academic preparation system. We've heard people throw around the IBEST model. That's the Seattle, Washington model, and it stands for Integrated Basic Education and Strategic Training, which I always like to kind of enunciate to people and lay out there, because sometimes we get in the habit of we're used to these little acronyms and we just throw them around. So that's kind of what we're trying to mirror here in Florida, is that kind of a setup. Really, to kind of bring it much more simply than some of the things we've heard so far today, the upshot we've taken away from this at Santa Fe, and our goal is really to focus on this teaching together and this team teaching idea, or having instructors across disciplines working more and more closely together for the success of our adult ed students and other students in whatever the career and technical program may be. They all can benefit, basically. And so this is something we've always kind of worked for and wanted to participate in and kind of expand at Santa Fe, and a few things recently have given us that opportunity to really move into more training endeavors beyond just your academic preparation that's traditionally associated with adult ed departments. And the main thing that's given us that opportunity is the Walmart Brighter Futures Project, which we were lucky enough to be a recipient of. And just a brief overview on that, so you kind of see what I mean about it. It kind of gave us a little head start on this, or laid some of the foundation. This was a project that was funded through the Walmart Foundation and the League for Innovations of Community Colleges. Santa Fe was one of 12 schools to participate in this second iteration of the Walmart grant. The main goal is this little second bullet point here, the moving low-income individuals into middle-skilled jobs. And that looked very different at all the schools participating in the program. Our school was one of the schools that focused very much on students that are still working towards their GED and career and technical training. They could begin to start a career prior to getting that GED that could then be advanced once they did complete their GED studies. And so we assisted with a lot of things, kind of expanded a lot of the areas of things that go on in your adult ed departments already in terms of training and support and advisement. But the main goal was always for that ultimate completion of a certificate that could lead directly to a job. And so it really kind of set the foundation for this idea of adult education and academic preparation side by side with a technical preparation. And really what we were doing is more or less concurrent enrollment, where we had students that were enrolled in a technical training course and also coming to us for assistance on their GED preparation or other general academic preparation. And then we would also assist them with studying and preparing for their technical coursework or their technical exam and licensing work. But it was really divided programs. We weren't working directly hand in hand with the technical programs that we were kind of partnered with. But now we can, and we've taken the opportunity of some of the foundations we put in place with the Walmart grant, and the fact that we were one of the recipients of the FICAPS grant money as well, to kind of jumpstart the next level of closer and closer integrated teaching and training between the adult ed and the technical departments. And we focused on two major areas to begin with. The first, this last semester, we partnered with the Tramcon program at Santa Fe, which is training in manufactured construction. It is a a program that's just beginning throughout the state, and it's actually a grant-funded project that includes, I believe, 5 schools throughout Florida. They have a very standardized curriculum they have to adhere to. They learn a whole lot of safety, construction, general workplace and work site safety. They also learn manufacturing safety. They learn a little bit of general construction techniques. They do their NCCER core. They do their OSHA safety training. They do some manufacturing trainings so they can get certificates as production assistants and technicians. It's an interesting program where students can get entry level to a wide variety of construction and manufacturing techniques. One of the very exciting things about it is it was free tuition because of the grant-funded nature of the program, which has helped us succeed as well. Yeah, so like I said here, I actually participate several days a week with the Tramcon program. I go over, this last semester, I was over there 2 days a week in the morning participating with 2 different classes, and I also offered additional tutoring services for students outside of those class curriculums. This semester, the structure of the classes has changed a little bit, so I'm with one of the classes 2 mornings a week for their entire morning, mainly their academic book kind of classroom time period. In the afternoons, they do more hands-on, and I'm not actually participating in those periods at the moment. But then we're also looking to have some other teachers move in and participate more with us. We're trying to expand this. But what we really do, here at the bottom, I think we've been doing a lot of what I call tag team teaching instead of team teaching. People hear team teaching and I think they get worried that there has to be an excessive amount of planning and this great bonding, like where you can finish your sentences like an old friend because you're team teaching right together. And we all know that's not very realistic. But what's proved to be great and what is realistic is kind of tag team teaching. For example, one of the Tramcon instructors and I have been working very closely together in the class, and he'll be teaching fractions, for example, during construction math, and he'll be at the board giving an example, and he'll teach it one way, and I'll jump up and teach it another. And as we know, students learn in different ways, and so immediately students are hearing a variety of approaches to it. Also, as an adult ed instructor, I think a lot of us are keenly aware of when a student is not understanding something. You can kind of pretty quickly tell when someone's zoning out or didn't get something and starts to fade on the subject matter. And that's a great time for an adult ed instructor to jump in who's also a little bit outside the technical subject area to say, wait a minute, could you clarify that point to the construction technical person? And inevitably, you're willing to ask the question that the shy student who thinks they're the only one who's lost is not willing to ask. And so it becomes a real, you're really kind of forming a communication between the 2 teachers where, you're kind of fostering more of that class discussion and fostering a greater learning environment where people are more comfortable to interrupt and ask questions. And it's proved to be great. Like I say, I also give additional options for tutoring for students as well. I come in early a couple mornings a week to the construction department to help students before the classes begin. We also offer tutoring on Friday mornings when they don't traditionally have technical and instructional technical classes going on. So that's very useful. As a result of this, we've had some early successes. And like I said, the team teaching has been a great example of early success with construction math, a lot of real life kind of stories. I actually, and this is a good place to speak to this, I think it's very important when picking a instructor to go to your technical class, if you can, to pick an adult ed instructor that has some sort of familiarity with that subject area from their past. We have, in adult ed, we tend to, at least at Santa Fe, have a lot of people with very varied background. I worked in solar installation industry for about 7 years before coming to adult ed, and so I have a lot of hands-on construction experience and could bring a lot to that classroom, from other real-world work examples to just a little bit of that mutual respect idea that sometimes we're concerned about from our technical vantage point. Well, immediately the construction folks knew I knew something. I'd swung a hammer for a while, and I could solder a little bit, and I could, they were like, oh, this guy's not he's not completely lost when it comes to construction. And so that immediately opened some conversation. Another great thing has been that the Tramcon instructors are all new to teaching because it's a very brand new program. And so this was definitely to our advantage that they were fresh teachers in a completely fresh program with very open ideas about what that classroom situation was going to look like. And then the adult ed instructor, we were coming in as more the seasoned teachers from their perspective. And so it was it's been a nice relationship there. Also with the students, this has been great. As we said, it's really about the student success, and we've seen a lot of student success. We've seen students that were waffling a little bit on their commitment to getting their GED, increase their commitment after becoming involved in this program. We saw that already with the concurrent kind of programs we were running, but it just is even greater now that the teachers are actually together and they're seeing the combination of these things. We've also seen folks get more excited about their technical program because they're not struggling in it as much. They're getting the help in the reading and the language and the math that they need to succeed in their technical program. So even though they're a hands-on person, they thought this technical program is going to be great, the struggles they may have hit, or a lot of them do, that make it not as wonderful as it may have been envisioned, they're overcome right away. And so people get more excited about sticking with their program and actually passing their certification tests at the end. And we've also seen a few people. The Tramcon program is designed to be an on-off ramp program where you can come in for a 6-week semester, get a few small certificates, leave, go to work if you need to, come back for a later semester and join the kind of second-tier trainings and those types of things. And that's really nice because some of our students, especially in adult ed environments, have life issues that come up and need to leave programs for a while. But this program does offer them some training that they can get work right away, and we've had a few great successes with that just after the first series of trainings. It's basically a mini semester, like a 6-week training. So keys to early success. I kind of spoke to these a little bit already. Like I said, ideally an adult ed instructor with a little knowledge in the area or a little additional background experience in whatever the technical area you might be sending them into is excellent. If you can't have that, we've talked about sending an instructor through the course almost as a student, side by side, taking the course, learning the material, and then helping students make sure they're processing and learning the material at the same time. And then the next time around, that instructor would have a greater awareness and would just continue from there. Those are two great approaches to that. From the career and technical side, I think the openness of the teachers and the openness of that community to us coming in is essential to our early success. The construction department has been very open to adult ed coming over. It's kind of like the guy from Australia said, someone said they wanted to help me teach my class. Great. Like, who's going to say no? I'd rather do all this myself. So it's a nice, it's been great. They've been very open to us, very positive at both the teacher level and the administrative level. And, that's huge. And I know not everywhere will have that, but that's definitely been one of the keys to our success so far. Like I said, the fact that the Tramcon is in its first semester, or was in its first semester last semester when we began this, was a huge help. They're not stuck in their old ways. They don't have a way of doing things. There's not a rut to everything that has to be followed yet. Although they do have a very prescriptive curriculum, which actually, because of the Tramcon grant, it's so that all the schools teach the exact same grant material. And for us, it's been kind of nice because we don't really have to do a lot of teaching planning. The teachers and I communicate about where we are in the text or where we are in the syllabus and what's coming up next. And we don't have to sit down and decide what's next or what the next activity is. They're already given and planned. It's more how we're going to execute this instead of figuring out what we're going to do, which takes a little bit of that pre-planning time completely out of the way and is really nice. Additional helpful circumstances here, you know, like I said, although the Tramcon instructors have tons of field experience, they've both been in commercial construction for quite some time. Neither of the instructors had taught in the classroom before. They'd always done, you know, on-the-job training, bringing up a guy underneath them kind of thing. And while that is excellent for when they're in the afternoon in the warehouse actually doing some of the construction in the building, it made them a little bit timid about their role in the classroom and made them a little bit more open to my presence in the classroom and coming in and kind of helping figure out how do we teach this idea, or how do we make it a more exciting class than just lecturing off a PowerPoint that we were given from the grant. And it's been, but it's been great. One of the teachers also, his wife's the principal of a charter school, and he kind of has this openness to interesting educational ideas and pushing those limits. And that kind of attitude is invaluable. You know, he's up for whatever. Let's see here. Also, this is kind of a weird thing. Academic entry requirements are low for the Tramcon program, which sounds like a weird thing to say as in a helpful circumstance for us, but that means they need help on getting their academic skills up so that they can succeed on their certification tests and some of the things they're doing in the class. And the standards are low right now because they have grant numbers they have to get. And when they get the grant, that may not when they finish the grant, that may not always remain the situation, but we're already fostering that relationship that we are helping the other students who come in with higher skills as well. They're benefiting from the adult ed and technical kind of integrated work as well. So it's nice, but it has helped them be more open to us because the students need more help than they may usually or otherwise need. And the tuition's free. I know that's a big part, and there's going to be a lot of discussion about funding and working with other resources in the community, but for us, the early success with the Tramcon has been students there do not have to come up with any tuition. We've also been able to fund some of their tests and a few small things that they are required to fund through some of those other relationships, like with Community Action Agency and Career Source. And so it's really been easy to move in there and start working when money's not really a concern. Their instructors are paid for, our instructors are covered, tuition's covered. It's been pretty nice. Now, we have had some challenges, and as with anything, and I know that anything new is going to bring challenges, we've had a few. We're mainly with our next phase or our next approach, we're trying to move into having a FICAPS CNA program, or Certified Nursing Assistant program at Santa Fe. We typically at Santa Fe have only about 60 students a year that go through the nursing program, and we're now going to be, we're doubling that number, or no, we're halving it, half again. We're adding another 30. And so it was a interesting conversation to go to another department at Santa Fe. We worked with the Health Science Department and the SEED Center, which is the Center for Innovation and Economic Development. And you get that many people in a room talking, and it's very difficult for everyone to get on the same page sometimes, especially when it's completely new. It was the classic too many cooks in the kitchen kind of feeling in a few meetings. But we worked through it. Some of the major concerns came from the Health Science Department as to how we're going to integrate adult ed into the classroom without losing hours of instruction that are finely tuned to make sure all the material's covered. Other issues were student fees. How are these student fees going to be paid? You know, also additional program costs. Will those additional costs of new instructors or things be passed along to the FICAPS grant, or to the students, or to the university in general, because this is a program we want to support? Those all became discussions. Class scheduling. Okay, well, we have 10 students in a class now, and you're asking us to take 10 more. So now we have 20 students a semester of CNA students to deal with. Well, you know, they only have so many classrooms and only so many lab rooms and only so much equipment that's now sized for 10 students at a time. So there was some concern. Also, new instructors, same issue. If we're having twice the students, we need twice the instructors on the CNA side of things. How are we going to accommodate that many more students? Again, where is the funding issue going to come down to? So as you can see at the money, I put $3 signs and a question mark at the bottom because that's what it always seems to come down to. If we had all the money in the world to make this happen and I just went into the health science department and said, here's the money, this is what we're doing, I think this would have been a very short conversation. But these are where some of the roadblocks come up. The excitement is we overcame that. We are implementing a FICAPS CNA program this semester at Santa Fe. The class will be starting on March 8th, which is our spring B semester. We're actually have an agreement to have 3 FICAPS CNA cadres a year come through. So that'll be an additional 30 students a year. It's 10 students per cadre. They are students that are handpicked through the Adult Ed and FICAPS program, and we're selecting them out, making sure they meet our requirements. They still have to meet the same requirements of any other CNA student. They just have to meet a few more because they have to be part of our program as well. And we have some strict kind of things to make sure they'll follow through. We're very excited about it. We have our 10 students ready to go. All of them have just about every single thing in place they need for March 9th. We got a few little loose ends to tie up, and then they'll begin. And we're really looking forward to it, hoping it works out well. And then we'll have another group going through in May, which would be our summer A semester, and another group going through in fall B, and starting in October. So, and we'll do that. We're planning on continuing that for a year. As always, it's a matter of making sure the funding happens. This first round, we have fully figured out. The next few we're working on, but we're partnering with community agencies, and that's going real well too. A lot of those relationships were also made due to the Walmart grant, which, like I said, really helped us lay the foundation for this. Also, we're expanding our Tramcon work. We're hoping to send another teacher into the classroom to be there a little more full-time than I've been so far. And we're also hoping that as that coursework continues and our relationship with the construction department grows and strengthens, that we're going to expand to other programs within the construction department besides just the Tramcon. And so that's my quick summary about what's going on at Santa Fe. And like I say, we feel very lucky to have gotten the Walmart grant and the FICAPS grant, and they just have let our program, given our program the opportunity to expand and kind of blossom in a way we didn't think was possible before. Great. Thanks so much.